Let's return now to one of our top stories. A potential trade deal with the European Union is all but off the table after negotiations collapsed at the Osaka G7 Trade Ministers meeting over the weekend. Joining me now live for more on this is Professor Peter Draper, Executive Director of the Institute for International Trade at the University of Adelaide. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Firstly, what's your reaction to this news? Are you surprised?
Good morning, Janica, and good morning to your viewers. Disappointment. It's just been a long time coming, and now we have what it looks like a further 2-year delay to the negotiations, which still may never conclude. So I think if you favour this trade deal, and particularly the strategic partnership with the European Union, this can only come as a disappointment. I suspect in the farming industry there'll be a lot of relief, and that tells you a bit about what was at stake, not just in Osaka, but in these talks more generally.
So what seems to have gone wrong here? And the European Union released a statement saying that Australia retabled agricultural demands that did not reflect what the EU said was the good progress made in the lead up to the talks in Japan. So why has it all come undone suddenly?
Well, the details still have to get out, so we don't really know. But some of the broad disagreements are well known, particularly the agricultural package, which is not enough, obviously, for Australia. So one of those issues concerns geographical indications or place names, if you like, for things like Prosecco and Feta and Parmesan cheese, and those have been particularly sensitive for various Australian farming communities. The EU has its sensitivities, but I think those could be solved, and particularly vis-a-vis Australia's critical minerals policy, and they really want access to our critical minerals sectors. So one feels a deal could be struck there. The other issue in the agriculture talks really concerns the combination between quota access for products such as beef and sheep, as well as the terms of that quota access, which clearly there's not enough on the table for the Australian farming community, and the ministers made that judgment that it's not a good deal for us.
Agriculture obviously seems to be the key issue here. Does this not need to change given the global security environment?
Well, the EU's, dare I say, protectionist instincts on agriculture are very well known, and it's not just us that struggles with these. We've been struggling in the context of the World Trade Organization for 40 years or more to dismantle not just EU subsidies and tariffs and quota systems, but a range of countries that protect their agricultural sectors. And for the Europeans, think French farmers, for instance, it's particularly sensitive and always has been, and Australia is a major agricultural exporter. So it was always going to be a big sticking point, but we thought we might be able to get it over the line with just enough agricultural market access, but clearly that's not the case.
How closely do you think China will be looking at this? For Australia, a deal with the EU would have meant diversifying away from its trade dependency on China. Would Beijing be thinking it has come out winning out of this situation?
Yeah, I suppose. So I hadn't really thought of that angle, but sure, it's a blow to our diversification agenda, and that's a reason why we wanted this deal. We really wanted this deal, I would say. And it's not just about exports, it's also about inward investment from various EU countries and the positive signal that a free trade agreement would send. So it's a blow in terms of our diversification agenda, but if one locates the EU in our broader trade profile, it's actually relatively small. We trade just as much, if not more, with the UK, for instance. So it's about the prospect of diversification, and it depends which export sector you're looking at. So the agricultural market access and offer was always going to be relatively minimal. It seems it's more minimal than we had hoped for.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if anything changes here. Peter Draper, we'll leave it there. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.